Hi, and welcome back to Football Made Simple. A massive encounter took place in the Bundesliga as Nagelsmann's Leipzig hosted Hansi Flick's Bayern Munich. Most agreed that anything but a Leipzig win would make it impossible for them to win the league, so in some ways it was a title decider. In the end, the game finished 1-0 to Bayern Munich thanks to a goal by Goretzka, all but securing the title. The XG indicated it was a close encounter, with Bayern just being more clinical. The XG time map shows that although Leipzig had a good spell early on in the second half, on the balance of play, Bayern created more. But what tactics did both managers use? Let's take a look. You may also be interested in these videos leading up to Bayern's big Champions League clash with PSG, and they will be linked below in the comments and at the end of this video. Let's first look at the formations Flick and Nagelsmann used, courtesy of our video sponsor, the OneFootball app. OneFootball is the best football app in the world, giving you match updates, news, stats for teams and players, and so much more on your phone. The best part is you can get it absolutely free through the link in the description below, which also helps to support the channel. Now, let's begin with what the victors Bayern Munich did when they were on the ball. Leipzig generally looked to press higher up, ending with a passes per defensive action of under 10. In this match, we saw another side of Bayern's build-up, as they were willing to go long much more often than usual. Neuer attempted 24 long balls, and the whole Bayern backline in general was much more willing to go long, in comparison to Leipzig's. This, of course, is because Choupo-Moting played at centre forward, and he is excellent at holding up long balls as well as flicking them on. So it was an easy way for the Bavarians to bypass the pressure that Leipzig did apply. And Leipzig's higher line meant that Choupo-Moting would have plenty of room to look to play in the wingers behind the high line. In fact, Choupo-Moting won more long balls than anyone else on the pitch. But when possible, Bayern would of course try to build up short, with the centre-back splitting wider to give Neuer the first option. And Leipzig adapted their pressing shape, with Olmo being more withdrawn to try and cover Kimmich and Goretzka, and Nkunku would tuck in from right wing to create a 2 vs 2 and pressure the centre-backs. And Leipzig would generally try to filter Bayern's play down the right-hand side, for reasons we'll touch on shortly. So, because Bayern were being pressed 2 vs 2 here, they needed easy outlets, meaning that rather than push high up the pitch, Pavard would drop deeper to be an easy outlet. We see this and Leipzig filtering Bayern to the right in the total touches, with Pavard the right back and Süle the right-sided centre-back being amongst those to see most of the ball, and being the top 2 passers. And down their left, Leipzig would be able to press more efficiently, as they could go man-to-man, with Haidara moving on to Pavard and Klostermann on Sane, while Sabitzer was looking to cover Goretzka to cut off any options higher up. And Leipzig were able to win the ball in these situations at times, leading to quick transitions and often shots on goal. We would at times see Müller drop deeper into the midfield to try and provide an alternative option, but again, Adams could follow to cut off this passing route as well. But it was a different story down Bayern's left-hand side, where they had much more success. Because Nkunku came in narrow, Lucas Hernandez often found himself in acres of space. Once the ball was played out to him, Mukiele would often push up from right back, but of course, this would mean that Coman would potentially have space to receive, with Müller often looking to move wider to support him and create a 2 vs 1 against the covering Oban. And they could combine, which led to some decent situations. And the Bayern goal came from what is now an expected source in Leon Goretzka, who as always was looking to attack the box. It is a plot that Bayern have used a lot under Flick, so to get a deeper understanding of why they use it, you can check out this previously mentioned video about Flick's tactics. But let's touch on a few of Nagelsmann's tactics. From the goal kick, Orban and Upamecano dropped deeper to provide options. And although Bayern used a higher block, it would only be Choupo-Moting who would look to press once the ball became active, whilst Coman and Sane instead covered the fullbacks. So Leipzig could often come out in the first phase, with Upamecano being key, as he would dribble past Choupo-Moting's pressure. And generally, Tyler Adams was the deepest midfielder for Leipzig, whilst Olmo and Sabitzer looked to push higher up between the lines early. This meant at times, Adams would easily be isolated and he had all the responsibility for ball progression, and Müller would stay tight on him to prevent this. And when Upamecano would instead look to progress, to draw an extra midfielder and create space higher up, Müller instead would shift from Adams to press Upamecano and create a 4-4-2, whilst using his cover shadow to prevent the pass into Adams. On the rare occasions that Müller got his angles wrong, it meant that Leipzig would now have a lot of space in defensive midfield and be able to progress the ball. However, higher up the pitch, Leipzig tended to attack down the flanks, and down the left in particular they looked dangerous. They always looked to overload the left, and this was made possible first by Sabitzer pushing up early and often into this half space, joined by Haidara and Klostermann. Forsberg generally operated as a false 9 in this match, willing to drop deeper to provide another passing option, and often moving wide to the left to help create an overload in this phase. Naturally, this would force Bayern across the pitch, with Kimmich and Goretzka helping to reduce the overload. Nkunku would often initially be in the half space, forcing Hernandez to come more narrow, and this would then allow the switch to Mukiele, who could then look to combine with Nkunku to try and create chances, which did happen on occasion. Overall, despite having less possession, Bayern looked in control for most of the match. Leipzig will be disappointed as they passed up this golden opportunity without providing much offensive threat throughout the match. Flick won't care though, as now they can turn their focus to the Champions League. But what did you make of this match? As always, not all tactics could be covered, so drop anything else you noticed down in the comments below. And if you want even more content whilst helping to support the channel, consider checking out my Patreon at patreon.com/footballmadesimple. You'll get early access to videos, exclusive videos, as well as access to the upcoming FMS video podcast. But that's all for today, and remember, keep it simple.